Hello, beautiful souls. Lori Rising here, star channeler and sacred guide of the rawandwildhearts.com. Welcome to the Scorpio New Moon that's happening on Monday, November 13th at 4:37 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. How the heck are ya? It has been a super duper hot minute since we have been here together. Life has ramped up and it feels like it's a little more streamlined as well. Are you feeling me on that? But because I've been doing so many other things, I have been on YouTube a little less lately, and I'm happy to be here with you now. We just went through a major eclipse ending cycle. We're still feeling those energies. You might still be unfolding the permanent changes that are coming up in your life from there. But we're really starting to feel a little more reprieve or a little more ease and trust in those certain environments in our life. So if you haven't watched my last video, which was the Taurus lunar eclipse, I'm going to link it up here and I'll share it at the end of this video. And make sure to check that out because I actually went through all 12 houses and just gave you a brief description of where that they each are in your life and what you've been working with for 2 years now. So as long as you know how to look at your natal chart and find the Taurus and Scorpio axis in your chart, look at those houses, and that's when you're going to know and you're going to be like, whoa, 2 years, I can see it. I can really start to unpack it in a new way as I look back at everything that has moved and evolved and transformed there. For me, it's been pretty wild. I started in two houses, and then with that last eclipse, I ended in two different houses. So I traversed through four houses for everything that was coming up. And when I look back at my last 2 years, like, whoa, I see all of it, all of it. And it was all tied together, which is really incredible when you can kind of zoom out, when you know enough about the astrology and you can zoom out and you see, like, oh my gosh, how everything has really played its own role for the bigger picture to come to life in your experience. Oh, it's wild. Now, of course, if you don't know how to read an astrology chart, stick around because I've been sharing the charts on these videos and I point out, I actually trace out the aspects that I'll be talking about. So that's super fun. It helps you to get more comfortable with reading an astrology chart. And of course, if you would like an astrology and Akashic records reading, I do still offer them. They're more limited at this time because of everything else I have opening up in my world and my business. But if you can grab one of those spots, I would love to drop in with you. They will really get you unstuck, which you might be feeling a little sticky because we're still in a lot of Scorpio energy. Everything is always below in the links. So there's lots to get into today, but I do want to welcome you. If this is your first time meeting me and finding this channel, I'm so excited that you're here. Please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Like this video. If you're feeling support and comfort in my transmissions and the messages that I'm sharing, share it with someone you know, share it with your community, and really comment below. Let's start this conversation. Let's really engage to find that community support together that really helps us feel more witnessed and seen in all of these fast and accelerated changes that are happening on this planet and in humanity now. So, like I said before, I'm Lori Rising of the rawandwildhearts.com. I have so many things really coming to life after that last eclipse season, and it just feels nourishing. It feels like big yes energy, and it feels like things are gonna just expand in my world quickly now. And the first thing I want to tell you about is it's so exciting, y'all. This is my biggest, most profound free masterclass event to date. Usually I do a masterclass for one day. This is 3 days. 3 days, three activations, three opportunities to really embed the sacred wisdom and the ancient knowledge that's going to be coming through from me and my guides in this time together, and let that unfold in your life. Let it become revealed in new ways from the power of our activation together. So please, I am cordially inviting you to come hang out with us at the Path Masterclass. Oh, we are going to have such a blast together. Y'all, soul growth and evolution can and should be fun, right? Like even transformation of our core wounds, of the generational patterns, of the stories and mind loops that we live in so often. Like it doesn't have to be as hard as we've been taught. And that's why I'm doing this free 3-day live masterclass for you, because it's time to go so much bigger. So many people will spend their lives in an internal struggle. That does not have to be you. And I see this with my clients, in my containers, in my membership, in my mentorships, in so much in my retreats, and so much that I offer. I see them make quantum shifts when it lands in the cells, when it lands and it's embodied. That's my mission here. We're working with not just the mind, we're working with the body, the soul, and the energy. These are the missing pieces in so many people's containers, and I go holistic. So I just can't wait to do this with you next week, y'all. I am fresh. Like it has arrived. I am ready to go. And it has been quite the journey in these last 2 years, but specifically since the retrograde started this summer, like I have gone very deep and very dark at times, very internal, to find the confirmation of where I'm going. And it's like I had to go through a major churning process of who I am and what my mission and my truth really is in how I'm here to serve the collective. So please join me. The link is below. Sign up and share this loud and proud, and be entered into a super fun giveaway when you come hang out with me live. Oh, I am so excited, y'all. Okay, enough about that. Let's get to today's video. So the Scorpio New Moon, the thing is, the energy that I'm really feeling for this is, what are we fighting for? And I want you to really drop into that, right? Not fighting with each other. What are we fighting for in our expression, in our experience, in our connections, in our energy? And the thing is, I am using the word fighting here because at times it does feel like we have to just hold on by a string to stay in this alignment while we're getting bombarded, while, Pluto's really doing a great job at dismantling these systems, these oppressive systems, these systems of division, these systems of power over. And they're not going to go down easily. It's going to be super uncomfortable. And that's why we are here as the bridge generation. We are the bridge to the golden age. This is like the mission that we said yes to when we said we would come at this time, in this incarnation, in this body and iteration. But we can still find beautiful places of alignment. We can find joy. We can find internal resources and internal power, and we can elevate this collective from the deep transformation we make at our root, because we are the roots for what we see in our physical reality. Please remember that. What we're doing in the masterclass, the Path Masterclass, is getting to the root of everything within us that becomes our thoughts and our mind and what we take action on. And when we do that, then that becomes the root for the greater good and the grid and the field that everyone's tapping into. So that's why I'm saying I want you to really drop into, what am I doing this for? Why am I showing up? How much intention do I have? How much dedication do I have? Am I going to keep showing up even when it's challenging? Because there is going to be no place in this experience that you're not going to have challenges that appear as you move through the unfolding of this life. That's the gig of being human. And we keep getting sold in this divisive culture and in this sensationalized selling, this scarcity consciousness that is just shoved into us in every system that we participate in here. It's like not about some end journey, right? Because we're always looking at like, if I just get here, then everything's going to be fine. If I just get here, then I can relax. Then I don't have to work anymore. Then I don't have to, show up in the way that I'm having to show up right now. Yeah, you will. It'll just be different. It will have evolved. And there will be something new that you're creating and you're building and you're visualizing and you're magnetizing in your world, right? We're always going to be in some kind of relationship in humanity, and not everyone's going to be in our frequency, right? If we didn't have the fluctuations and the nuances of all of the humans in this world and all of the constructs that come from them and their beliefs, like we would just be consciousness. We wouldn't be in this physical form. So when you can really drop into that, then it becomes, what am I going to continue to show up for? And how am I going to show up for it through this entire journey, through this whole experience? So I really want us to use the Scorpio energy to dig deeper and discover, because this can be a very internalized energy that we're moving through, yet it also is very action oriented. We just went through Samhain. I mean, just literally, we went through the astrological Samhain yesterday when Scorpio was at 15 degrees. And this is taking us into our shadow, into the dark, into what is really ready to die in our lives that's no longer going to be carried forward with us. We haven't been great at that as a culture, and we've just continued to accumulate and keep holding on to the resistance and the stories that has been in our lives. But when we can truly be in this celebratory space of letting relationships, experiences, old versions of ourselves die off, when we can hold a party for them, like hold a grief party for them, that's the acknowledgement. And that's when it truly makes a divine evolution in our system. It's when it creates the space in ourselves for something new to come in. But if we're resisting really letting ourselves feel what wants to go and feel the transformation of it, we're always holding ourselves just like on this precipice that becomes really, really uncomfortable. And that becomes that internal struggle that so many people will live in throughout this whole experience. But what I know is that when we find all of the power and the resources within us, and we're no longer looking for it externally, we are resilient AF. We can move through anything. We can create always. We are the ones that are the veil at this point. We're the ones that have held ourselves back. We're the ones that have created the stories of why we never go for it, why we never take those next steps, why we never, call in or create what needs to happen for where we go or where we desire and dream to go. So it's such a beautiful time right now that the eclipse energy is starting to settle down in those areas of your life that was about your resources, Taurus and Scorpio, what's mine and what's ours. So in relationship, what is the value and resources in these relationships? And how do they maybe need to change? And what's the value and resources within myself? Am I looking for what I can accumulate in my world to give me that safety? Or can I find that safety within myself no matter what changes in my world? Because y'all, what's happening in humanity, it's atrocious. It is so heartbreaking. It is literally makes it hard to breathe when we tap into it. And by us just laying down and not continuing to do our work for a better world and a higher consciousness for all of humanity is never going to serve these lives that we have and serve those people that are leaving this life entirely too soon for horrific acts against humanity. We are the ones that come and create and build and transform and find the higher frequency to deposit into the grid. We become the energy that others tap into. And it takes a lot of us, but there is the ripple effect. There is the 100th monkey theory. Like, we have so much evidence of what can happen when enough of us do this. So yes, in this season of Scorpio, let yourself grieve, let yourself rage, let yourself be angry appropriately in a healthy way. So you've really got to catch yourself when you're dropping in to that scorpion sting of anger, of resentment, of retaliation, and you're letting that become unleashed in your world, because Mars is in Scorpio, and that's its domicile, which means that's its home sign. And Venus is now in Libra, domicile in its home sign, the sacred masculine and the divine feminine. Now, these energies together don't mean that we don't feel our full range of emotions and feelings. There's a reason that we have them. But when we learn to channel and move and stay in the flow and release that energy without directing it at someone else or at humanity, then we come into a balanced and soft nervous system for what can happen in really beautiful ways between us in those dynamics, even when they're not in the same frequency. This is unity consciousness. This is the soul growth work that I hope we are doing in deep ways. This is the bridge that we're moving towards for the golden age. So let's really work with those masculine and feminine energies in their most positive expression while honoring the expression of them. So Venus and Libra, make sure you're not self-sacrificing. Really let yourself come as you are in your full light and self to the relationship, and let that be the guiding energy that takes you both where you need to go, right? Find that place of balance without needing to be right, or without the ego or the defense or the stories of judgment and comparison and competition where you stay small or you stay holding yourself back. Okay, so that was a lot. Before I share the chart with you, I just want to say that on November 4th, Saturn went direct. So this can be helping you get a little bit more reconnected with your higher self, because Saturn was retrograde. When retrograde happens, it goes very internal. And with Saturn in Pisces, Saturn is about restriction. It's also about responsibility. It's also about physical mastery. So at the end of this transit of Saturn and Pisces, we are going to be exploding into our spiritual self here on earth, like bringing all of that knowledge and that ascension that we know there, but we're going to be creating it in our physical reality. We're going to be living it more on a daily basis instead of taking time out to do that connection and then come back into life and have such a just kind of a disconnect between the two. I can feel like it just becomes, it's an extension of who we are in the physical world. So that's going to start feeling better and better. And you're going to be like, oh, okay, I feel connected again. Like, I don't know what happened to it, because it could have felt like it was almost pinched off from you. I felt it in this retrograde, and it was hard to really trust that it was going to come back, because I was even talking to my guides. I'm like, where are y'all? You're not talking to me the way that you usually do. And I'm like, oh yeah, Saturn is in retrograde. So I am hella excited. It is now direct. And on November 11th, this is going to be big. Mars in Scorpio is opposing Uranus in Taurus. So this is going to be really big surprises and changes, especially in the way that you feel secure in your life. This is about your possessions as well. And it's about what's yours, right? And that's not just possessions, but what's yours in your energy. So something can really come in and kind of blast that and, knock you out at the knees. So you want to come into the opposing energy of Mars and Scorpio and use it in a really constructive way. So Mars and Scorpio, again, I'm going to come back to, what are you fighting for? What do you know is true in your heart that you're doing all this work for? And how can you share that in, you or not share that, use that in whatever's, giving you this big shock or this big change or shift in your life or your experience. But again, dig deep to discover, dig deep to bring up what can be revealed at this time, rather than use the determination of Scorpio rather than getting stuck and getting incapacitated, which fixed energy can sometimes do. They'll dig their heels in and they'll dig them in until they hit rock bottom. We don't need to do that. The astrology doesn't dictate us. We use it as the soul growth tool. It's like getting the answers of a test before you take the test, but we've got to actually implement them. So let's look at the chart. I don't want to make this video too long. Let's get to it. Okay, here we go. So we're looking over here. I'm using red for the Scorpio. I'm leaving Ceres out, and we're looking at the sun, moon, and Mars and Scorpio all conjunct here. And that, my friends, is a stellium. So that's going to be some really, really intense Scorpio energy. So again, really check yourself if you're starting to feel that Scorpio sting. I have felt it recently in my interactions where I feel the frustration come up in me really quickly. And especially if I'm talking to a customer service representative or something on the phone because it's taking too much time, I actually have just said, you know what? I'm starting to feel frustrated, so I'm going to hang up and I'm going to deal with this later. Like, of course you can say that. That's the thing. I feel like there's so much truth that we hold inside of ourselves. And by holding it inside and not sharing it, it actually makes the situation so much more volatile. So I'm going to give that one to you. Go ahead and try it. If you start to feel this, no judgment, just notice it and change the energy. Create a new environment for you to, stay in that higher frequency and octave and work with it in constructive ways. So there we go. And then this is opposing over here, Uranus in Taurus. So again, Scorpio is ours and Taurus is mine. So remember that frequency when you're working with these energies. Okay, the other aspect I want to look at here is Mercury in Sagittarius squaring Saturn in Pisces. Now, these are mutable signs, so they're more adaptable, they're more flowing, they're a little more easygoing, they can change course, but we want to try to be, still grounded and solid in these energies instead of going just floating out into the ethers. So Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, which is expansive, and anything it touches, it wants to grow bigger. It doesn't care if it's a positive or negative energy. It's just going to create something much bigger for you and available for you. And so then we go into the restrictive qualities of Saturn on Pisces, and these two together, it feels like something's going to come through in your life that maybe is a new thought or a new path Thank you very much. The Past Masterclass. And it wants you to engage. It wants you to try it out. And this is where I'm coming into the Saturn in Pisces. Like, try out something new and let yourself be more moldable. Let yourself be in more of that evolving and evolutionary energy and realize that we are always the students. And when we approach life as the students, ooh, it gets so much bigger and more enriched for us because there's so much more out there to discover and to create about ourselves and about the world around us. So the Mercury in Sagittarius is really going to help your thoughts be more expansive. They want to take in new information and new tools and new techniques and new ways to go about ascension. So this is a great time to dabble in anything new and soulful that comes your way. So really pay attention to the messages that come through. You know, when you randomly decide to, look at your social media and suddenly you see something that pops up that's gonna it's something that you would not have done before. You create the time. Again, Saturn is about discovering things and making them happen in the physical reality and taking your time with them. So this can be a great way to just be more diligent in your day-to-day life with bringing a new spiritual practice that's going to take you so much faster and quicker into the alignment and the inner resources that's going to create the liberation in your life. Because again, with the clients I work with, when we get to the root and we find that transformation embodied in ourselves, the liberation happens instantaneously. So I feel like we're combining these two together to not be so much in the Saturn energy of like it taking a very long time, because Saturn is Chronos. It's all about taking your time to master something well. I feel like the Mercury in Sagittarius is going to help you have those enlightenments or epiphanies or those ahas that like you're like, okay, I get it. It makes sense. I'm going to do it. And then you start feeling the results. So again, we work with Saturn in new ways of soul growth and new higher octaves of ascension and higher dimensional realms that we're now in. We are light beings in ways that we have never been before because y'all are showing up. You're doing this work. The light codes are coming on. We have the space in ourselves. Like it's such a beautiful synergy that happens with all of consciousness. We're just one form. We're bringing it all together. Oh, it's so exciting. Y'all, I am feeling this energy. I'm really happy to be here with you. So those are the aspects that I really wanted to share in this video. I hope that they've been super supportive and helpful. Let's pull in a quick card read and see what the guides have to say for this energy that we're moving into. And again, let me know in the comments below, how have you moved through these last couple weeks since that Taurus lunar eclipse? Have you noticed big shifts and like just like really forward momentum and energy that's coming through for your life? That also leads to a place of trust. Oh, y'all, I am feeling trust in a way I haven't felt in months, if not the last couple of years. And I am absolutely in deep spaces of appreciation for that. I have been feeling so blessed. I'm just dropping into all of the things that have come into my life and how dope they are, like how lit they are, and how they really do enhance my day-to-day experience instead of just staying in this forward look and goal-oriented experience that I'm always like, what's the next thing? How do I get there? How do I get there? I'm like, wait a second. What's true in this present reality? Because what's true in this present reality is I am there in so many other ways, but when I hold it in just this one dimension of that being the indicator that I've arrived, I'm going to always be seeking and just linearly focused on that. So really let yourself in this Mercury and Sagittarius, take it all in, really just kind of bathe yourself in all of this glorious, whatever it is in your environment that you have visualized, you've magnetized, and you've created, whether it's your relationship, your location, your home, the environment around you. Like I look at my grove of trees and my beautiful magical field that I'm so in love with. And I know someday they're going to be filled with the dreams and the desires that I hold for them. And I can be fully present in how beautiful and magical they are for me right now. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so this is great. The first card is Go the Distance. So this is where I feel like it's about going really internalized, but also taking action. So dig deeper in really big ways to then use this Mars and Scorpio energy of the determination of like, okay, I'm going to do this now. I'm going to stop thinking about it. I'm going to stop ruminating on it. I'm going to stop procrastinating it. It's clear that this has arrived and it continues to show up as a path, as an unfolding, as something that's going to take me in new directions in my life. So let's make it happen in however it's meant to look. Like just start the energy and be open to how it's going to come through. So get out of that fixed energy of like it has to happen in one way. And then the next card is Message in a Bottle. So from there, you're really going to have the enlightenment or epiphany that I'm talking about with the Mercury and Sagittarius energy. And the other thing I want to say is the Mercury retrograde is coming up December 12th to January 1st. So right now is a fantastic time to be launching anything, to be sharing anything, to really be coming out and doing something new in your life, in your business, in your world. Now is a great time to do it, because once we get into like the full retrograde on December 12th, that might take us much more internal. It's going to be in Capricorn and it's going to move back to Sagittarius. So you're going to be reviewing those areas of your life, like your business, how you show up in the public eye, and your thought systems, your beliefs, your values, and like how you communicate in big ways, like internationally through the computer in your work, right? You can really combine those things in Mercury. So now is just a great time that when you get the message, when it comes through and you get that immediate hit, like, ooh, that's interesting, follow it. It's taking you somewhere. Again, let's come back to the Path Masterclass. Did you get like, when you saw the graphic, was it like, oh, follow it, because you never know where it's going to go. It will always open something up for you. I promise. When you engage, when you declare, and when you show up, something is there for you. Could be just connecting with another participant. It could be something in the chat. It could be, it might not even be any of the transmission that I'm sharing, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be. Okay. And then the final card here is soulmate. So the soulmate card, I don't feel like this is, we think of soulmates like, ooh, a romantic connection. Yes, great. Like now you're in this beautiful space with Venus and Libra, right? Venus is so happy in Libra, and you're in the space of just showing up as yourself, finding the balance within, and then, letting that be the guiding light in these relationships. But I think it's soulmates, in any connection, in your coworkers, in your friends, in your romantic partnerships, in your family, with yourself. So this is showing up as your true, authentic being from all of this excavation and all of this work and these dynamic energies that are just coming through to work really, really deeply with us. Because there's going to be some really nice astrology. Well, there's going to be some softer astrology coming in December. So just let yourself be available for all that's coming through. It's like in every direction in November. Now, if you want to go deeper with the Scorpio new moon and all of the new and full moons, come into my membership community. It is priced at such a beautiful place for you to show up and have this alignment, accountability, have this support, have a group that witnesses you in unconditioned, and do the embodied work, do the integrative work so that you feel the results and the transformation. And you get to revisit the replays constantly. There are bonuses. There is a support WhatsApp group. It's unbelievable. So if you feel that nudge, like you're ready to go deeper in a membership community, in a soul-led community, please check out the Wild Heart Ones membership below in the links. All right, y'all, if you have any questions about anything that I offer, about this video, about the astrology, please drop them in the comments. I would love to engage and interact with you. This is all about me and you and another in the Scorpio energy. Dig deep. Let's uncover what wants to be revealed. So until next time, y'all, don't forget to keep looking up.